You're still watching News Desk here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. Let's now head to the northern region, where we are told that the Judicial Service has closed down its only court in the Savlugu municipality, forcing residents seeking justice to travel 25 kilometers to Tamale just so they can seek justice. Now, Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugri has been following this issue keenly and is joining me now on phone with the details of this very worrying situation up north. So, Martina, good morning. Many thanks for your time here on News Desk. Now, can you tell us really what the situation there is? I mean, how bad is the situation?
A visit to the courthouse shows that it's been closed for a long time because you have dust and sand all over the place, so much cobwebs on the ceiling, an indication that it's been closed for long. I spoke to some people who are taking over the compound, food vendors, and then those who sell credit cards, and then some other people who are doing business on the compound. And all they could say was that it's been closed for a while. They don't know exactly when. So I met some of the residents. I spoke to them. I wanted to find out how it's affecting them as residents. I spoke with business owners as well. And what I gather is because they don't have a court in Savlugu, doing business, they find it very difficult. Having to travel to Tamale to have issues of litigating address is having a toll on them. Not only does it have a toll on businesses, the residents are also complaining that people would begin to lose trust in the judicial system. Instead of they always having their cases addressed by the judiciary, they would have to rely on traditional chiefs to settle their issues. Another issue that came up was that the police said it's difficult for them mobilizing resources, having to travel to Tamale each time they have cases, and sometimes they get to Tamale, they have closed, and so it's a big problem for them. I then visited the MCE for the area, and he says that the information he gathered from court officials was that the court was down. They were not getting so many cases, and that was why they had closed. They were going to close it down, and it's been closed since then.
Quite interesting. So the reason being given is that there weren't enough cases being referred to the court, so they decided to close it down?
Exactly. So that's what the MCE told me. And he said that the court officials said their promotion, their well-being is dependent on how many cases they sit on. And once they were not getting cases to do that, it means that they're not growing in the profession. And that's why they wanted to move it and actually move it to
Okay, so let me situate this in a proper context. So the judge believes he's not growing in his profession. So because of that, he asked that very court be closed down so he can move to a place where a lot more issues are referred to that very court, and then he can have some growth in his profession. Is that the case?
That's the case. That's from what the MC is saying. I've tried to get the judicial service in the region here to respond to the issue, but all to no avail.
Right. Martina, many thanks for that update. And that was Martina Bugri bringing us a report from the northern regional town of Savlugu, where the only court in that town, the magistrate court there, has been closed down because apparently the judge believes he's been underutilized and he's not seeing growth in his profession. Well, he says not too many cases were being referred to that very court in Savlugu. So he called for the closure of that court so he could be transferred to another court where he will see some growth in his career. It's a pretty disturbing situation because what we are told now is that people there now resort to traditional priests for justice. And for me, that's a bit worrying. We've been trying to get in touch with the Judicial Service on this issue, but so far we seem not to be getting through to any of them. None of them is willing to comment on this very issue, but we'll see how it goes. But let's now talk about some power issues, because yesterday it was a bit trendy on most of our platforms, and the Power Ministry is now assuring that current energy challenges being experienced will be over in the next few days. Now, various areas, including Kumasi, Accra, and Cape Coast, have had their lights going off since last week. Now, yesterday, only 20% of Kumasi had lights until power was restored around 6 p.m. But we are told now that the situation is being rectified and that in the coming days, all should have enough power.
According to the Power Ministry, the blackouts are due to ongoing processes to switch thermal plants from crude oil to their original gas sources. Deputy Minister John Jinapor says this has become necessary because work on the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah, which was recently shut down, has been completed.
When you have the FPSO back on, you don't have to begin to switch some of the thermal plants back to gas. And that is also a process. It's not just an event. In some instances, you have to switch the thermal plants down, do some cleaning, and begin the process of reconnecting them to gas. As I speak to you, Ameri is successfully firing on gas, and some other thermal plants are in the process. That has resulted in some slight challenges, but within the next few days, bearing any unforeseen circumstance, we should be able to even out.
However, some thermal plants, including Asogli in Tema, are still down. This is because they run solely on gas, and Ghana is currently not receiving enough gas from the West African gas pipeline from Nigeria. Mr. Jinapor dismisses concerns this is the result of government owing the company. He says majority of the debt has been paid, leaving just $80 million. He attributes the problem to the destruction of gas pipelines in Nigeria.
Inside Nigeria, there's been some vandalism of Akwado's pipelines there, and that affects gas coming to Itiko.
Mr. Jinapor assures there is enough crude oil to power thermal plants that run on both diesel and gas until gas from WAPCO is restored. He also disclosed government does not owe any of the multinational power producing companies in the country, including Power.
Meanwhile, government has dismissed the suggestion to float shares of Power Distributor Electricity Company of Ghana on the stock market, saying that option is not feasible for now. According to Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor, the company is not ready for any such move, hence government's decision to resort to other options. Now, there have been calls by the Public Utility and Public Services Workers Union for government to consider the move as an option to recapitalize ECG. Now, the groups are worried a planned privatization of the power supplier would lead to some job losses. Maintaining an alternative is listing the company on the stock market. But speaking with Joy News, Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor said this cannot be done.
In the current state of ECG, I'm not sure that any financial analyst or expert would advise us to float it. You normally float a company on the stock exchange when it's doing well. But if you look at the debt level, we require a company that will not just come and run it, but invest substantially in the company. And so we need to look at that option as well. And that is why government thought that the option of the concession was a good one. It went to Parliament. Both sides of the divide thought that it's a good one and passed it. We signed a compact with our American partners, and they're also investing about $500 million in order to turn the company around.
So that was a Deputy Power Minister, John Jinapor, who was speaking there earlier to our sister station Joy FM. And we are told also that the Power Ministry will later today be holding a media briefing on this very issue, plus a lot of other issues. We'll be bringing you details of that in subsequent bulletins here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Time now for business here on News Desk.